Hey, welcome to the first ever Minisode Monday. This is something new that I wanted to add into the rotation each week to share with you, to get you actionable insights that you can implement in your life and career. Now, I wish this was my idea. It's not. It's something that I have hacked or stolen or whatever you want to call it from another podcast that I listened to, but I thought it was such a brilliant idea. Don't worry, though. This is not going to replace the regular program that comes out near the end of the week, but it's something that I wanted to get added into the rotation and just start doing. Some weeks you'll hear just from me, like today's episode, while other weeks I'm going to tie in some snippets from past guests, or you're going to hear from new guests that might only have 5 or 10 minutes to share some insights with us. Anyway, let's just see how it goes. I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me know what you think of this new edition, Minisode Monday, to the Dealer Playbook lineup. Something I wanted to share with you is actually a conversation that I've had quite a few times this week. It's a lesson I learned from one of my mentors a few years back. It's something that's really helped shape my viewpoint on how I achieve my personal goals and the things that I want in my life. My mentor, it's kind of funny. We were sitting down having a conversation one night. We weren't talking about goal setting or anything, but he just said something very specific. And it taught me something. It was something very profound, and I think it applies to each of our lives. It just kind of came up in the conversation. And like I said, he wasn't trying to teach me anything. It was just very natural, but it stood out to me. He said, quote, "It doesn't matter what you aim at. It only matters what you hit." Okay? Now, don't get all emotional about this right now. I'm not referring to guns and gun violence and shooting or anything like that. I mean, I know this place is really sick and twisted, and I hate the fact that I even had to just say that. But keeping it in the context of achieving your goals, that's where my brain went when I heard it. Hearing those words for the first time helped me understand that, and thinking back to that point in my life, it helped me understand that the 20 directions I was trying to move in at once wouldn't really benefit me. It wouldn't help me get to a singular achievement. Thinking about a target or trying to hit a target, there's only one target. There aren't 20 targets. So as a human being, I'm a physical mass. I can't physically be split in two, let alone 20. Therefore, I can only work towards one goal at a time, or I can only be on a trajectory for one goal at a time. Broadening that thought process a little, though, this isn't to suggest that you can only ever work on one thing at a time. Of course, I'm not saying that. You can have a bunch of different goals that you're working towards. But what I'm suggesting here is that each goal has its own series of steps, a trajectory, if you will, that will move you close to your desired outcome. Crossing paths with the trajectory or the steps of some other goals that you have, it starts to get a little bit convoluted. It starts to get really confusing because, and I found it's a recipe for disaster because I start to get confused. I mean, this isn't like the Ghostbusters where crossing the paths of their proton stream added strength to taking down the ghost. What happens in real life and what it looks like is just people spinning their tires. We think we're doing a lot of work, we think we're getting a lot done, but we end up just getting lost and confused in our own actions, and we don't even remember where we were trying to go half the time. We get confused. I mean, I see this all the time when I'm working with clients or people that I'm coaching. It just happens all the time. They don't realize that these small decisions that we're making on a daily basis is how those paths get crossed. And while the thought process or the decision happens so quickly, in the back of our mind, we think we're still moving towards that target that we initially thought of, but we're actually moving in a completely opposite direction. So what usually happens, probably something that you and I have both experienced multiple times, I'm speaking for myself, we claim defeat. We encounter failure because we're so exhausted from spinning our tires, we just end up giving up. In marketing, I just kind of want to switch gears and put my marketing hat on here for a second. The same thing happens all the time, especially I see with the dealers that we work with or that we hear from. I mean, if you're listening to this right now and you're working inside a dealership, you probably have multiple vendors who all have varying opinions on how your dealership should be marketed. Because we all say this one common thing, like get more traffic, leads, and sales, it's easy for us to believe that that we're all on a trajectory together, moving alongside one another, helping each other in a unified manner get to the target. What we don't realize is that those varying opinions are like, though it may sound like we're trying to cross the paths of our proton streams, we're not actually. We're being pulled in 20 different directions. But you as a business, you as a person, can't be split into two, let alone 20, like I said earlier. But that's kind of what's happening, either directly or indirectly. All those opinions and all those varying ideas split you into 20 pieces to try and help you get quote unquote results faster. But the reality, you can only move in one direction. You can only be moving towards one target at one time. And so if you're swayed to move in another direction or to be split in two, it's because you probably didn't have the clarity on the direction you were moving to begin with. So though the target, i.e. traffic, leads, and sales, remains the same, you never seem to hit it because you've been moving in circles. You've been spinning your tires. You've been it's like a vicious game of Red Rover, of being stuck in the middle. You're being pulled back and forth. It reminds me of what my dad used to say. He's like, this type of stuff, it's like sitting in a rocking chair. There's lots of motion, but no movement. So what happens? The results don't happen quickly because, you're not working towards any specific goal at this point. You experience failure, you get fed up, you claim defeat, you fire people, whatever happens. So it's kind of funny to think about this, because the whole premise of marketing, the whole premise of achieving a life goal, a career goal, is really to fail over and over and over again as fast as you can, so that you can identify quickly what isn't working, what is working, and what could be improved. But the most important thing to do is to stay the course. Pivot is needed, obviously, but don't change your direction. It's the same way a football can't change direction once it's flying through the air. Neither should you. Get clear on your goal or goals. Figure out the steps, i.e. the trajectory that you need to be on to get you from where you are today to your goal, and see it through until the end. I hope you found value in this Monday Minisode. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening to this. You can grab the show notes at www.thedealerplaybook.com/Minisode-1, and that's MINISODE-1. Till next time, guys, keep the playbook open and dominate. What's your opinion? How do we solve this challenge, and what is the challenge?
I think it's exactly what you just said. There's all of these things that they could be doing, they have done and stopped, or they are doing. The problem is why we wrote the book. They're not connected. They are in a silo. So, for example, you have an agency and you hire them.